Well, everybody, it's good to see you here tonight. We hope that you enjoyed tonight as much as we enjoy bringing it to you. Those of you listening by Power Faith Radio, we thank you for coming this way. I will tell you tonight that I got a text about an hour ago from the Georgia group, and they have 56 there tonight, Terry. 50, I meant to tell you that as soon as you come in. 56. And they bought a little they've got one of the books, and they bought a camera so they can put it up on a screen while they're watching on YouTube. And so I think that's great. Coffee Shop Group said they're tuned in tonight, so it's good to have y'all and everybody else on Power Faith Radio. And if you're watching the recording via the two Facebook pages, Benigno Art Fellowship or A Simple Walk, we thank you so much. A Simple Walk, you can share those videos with all your social media platform. And as always, comment and give us a thumbs up. We'd greatly appreciate it. Ask those questions, and we'll try to work on getting the answers for you. It's brought to you tonight by Outreach Noah. You can find us a couple of different ways. Outreach Noah YouTube channel. Just type in Outreach Noah YouTube and we'll come up. Hit that notification bell. Hit subscribe, then hit that notification bell that you'll be notified every time a new video goes up. Terry, I'm trying to say real fast so I can get it onto you. And then you can email us. Just send an email to outreachnoah@gmail.com or come visit our website at outreachnoah.com. Did I get that right?
I think you did.
Okay.
I'll do it 3 times backwards, fast as you can.
All right, Terry. How about greeting everybody that's in the Zoom room with us tonight?
Hello.
Oh, Terry's on the road tonight. I can tell.
Oh.
Hello.
Hey, I had my Dr. Pepper today. That's all I get. All right. Greetings, everyone. And thanks for joining us again here in the Zoom room. Of course, we got Scotty down in the engine room. Now, last week, we had a problem with our subspace, communication,
communicators,
conduit, because, somebody decided to run through a power pole in Scotty's neighborhood and knocked out the internet. So, and it happened just a couple of hours before class. He's calling and texting and telling me we got issues. And so we're glad that they got the problem fixed and everything. We're back tonight. So thank you for everyone joining us. But tonight, Scotty's back in the engine room and giving it all his gloves, Captain.
Can I jump in and ask a question real quick? Can y'all see me? I can't see nobody all of a sudden. Am I still there?
You're there. Open your eyes.
Okay. I just go ahead and keep on going. I'm gonna see.
Now, one night you couldn't see us. You turned us all off.
Well, I know that I hit the wrong button, but I can hear you. So thank you for not letting me forget that. Okay, I'm going to find you.
We're going to have a new commercial. Can you see me now?
Yeah, can you see me now? Yeah.
All right. Then we got Amuela, which we're glad that she's here because she almost couldn't be here tonight because she's getting her new computer. Looks like she's up and going tonight. So we're glad that Amuela got to join us tonight and everything. And then Ronald, and then Wendell, and then Chris, and Fred, Veronica, who is now our what did we decide to call you?
Roving reporter.
The nomad or something like that.
The wandering goy.
The wandering goy. There you go. She's in, I think you're in Canada tonight, aren't you?
I am in Canada, in Saskatchewan.
There you go.
Wow.
Just above North Dakota.
Wow.
And hopefully in a few months, she'll make it down here and we get to see her.
Yeah. Yeah.
There we go. And then Fred, and then Annie, Scotty's better half. And like I said, anytime y'all want to come in and join the Zoom room, you can. You don't have to have your cameras on, but links are in our Facebook groups if you're in there. Simple Walk is an open group, so you can go in there and join in the Zoom room if you want to. And we also have our YouTube channel that you can, watch the stream in there as well. So thank you for everyone for coming tonight. I got a little bit of an announcement to make when we get started. It's going to be one of those kind of trailers that you see about a movie that don't come out for 2 years or something like that. it might feel like that, but it's actually, I think it's going to be pretty good. But I'll share that with you here in a little bit. Scotty, you about ready?
I
Can
am
you
ready.
see us yet?
I did. I found the button.
All righty.
Zoom kindly moved their buttons, so when you open up one of the buttons on the bottom, the button actually disappears, and you have to X out of it on the right. Now that's how I have to do it. So I had the participants brought up, but there was no way to turn it off, and,
No.
and so I had to go up and X out of the participants. So, and when I did that, I hit the wrong X.
You've done that before.
Yes, everybody went down, and I didn't, but I'm here. I'm back.
Okay.
Here I am. So, okay, it's so good to have everybody with us tonight. All right, we're going to get started on our. Did you want me to get started on our
Yeah,
Sadaka
go ahead.
time? Okay, good deal. Good deal. We appreciate everybody that's participated in our Sadaka time. I would like to give a thank you to some folks here in Blount County. I had talked to Terry some time back that I had found some baby trying to figure out the best graves that were unmarked, and I happened to stumble on their metal markers when they had passed, and families couldn't afford to purchase a stone. So I made some phone calls. It took a little bit, but I made some phone calls, and I would like to say tonight that those are now marked with their names and with their dates. And so those of you listening through Power Faith Radio that are here local, I want to just say thank you to Blount County and all the businesses that participated in that and got that accomplished.
Oh,
So,
wow. Baruch Hashem.
yeah. So, all right. Now, here we go with our Sadaka time tonight. We, as first, always, we want to give Sadaka for our main teacher, Pesach and Shira Sherbo. We appreciate them. They're in Sfat, Israel, and we try to get some updates on some stuff that's going on over there, but just continue to pray for them. Also, we're giving Sadaka tonight for Wendy Shepherd. We have her still on our Sadaka list. Ronald, I don't guess you have heard anything about or okay.
No, she's still very quiet at the moment and not getting online.
Okay. So we're going to continue to give Sadaka for Wendy Shepherd. And also for Robin Wade. We're giving Sadaka for Robin Wade tonight. And also for Kelly Talbert. We're giving Sadaka for Kelly Talbert tonight. Also for Clifford Hool. We're giving Sadaka for Clifford Hool tonight. I got a little update. Clifford here a while back came home from the what they call the rehabilitation, where you go rehab. He come back from rehab, but he was unable to get up on his own. He and his little wife Harlene just, she just very petite and was unable to help get him up. But I will say that I heard this week that he's getting up, he's walking through the house, and he's able to get in the shower now by himself. Everything's working out. So he is 86 years old. And so we're Baruch Hashem, we're giving Sadaka for Clifford Hool. Also for Daniel Akins, we're giving Sadaka tonight for Daniel Akins. Also for where'd I get to here? Also for Joanna Flynn Wakeuf. If I pronounce that right, she's going to be going in for knee replacement surgery in a short time. So we're giving Sadaka for her tonight. Also for Warwick Marshall. Where'd you go, Ron? There you are. The screen's moved on me. I got to talk to Warwick the other night for a few minutes, and then he called me. I realize he's in Tomorrowland, and I'm in Last Night Land. So he called me the other night, and then he texted me and said, "Scotty, are you there?"
I get that all the time. I look in the morning, and he's contacting me at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 3:30 a.m.
Yeah.
I think, give it a rest, Warwick.
Yeah. So we're giving Sadaka for him. Also, my wife brought in I think we used to do this on the radio a lot. My wife brought in another name, so we're going to do that. Mike and Sharon Garland. Mike and Sharon Garland. So, all right. So now, Amuela, Where'd you go? Oh, she's there. She's there. She's just off camera. Amuela, somebody always sends in $1 for you. This is your dollar going into the Tzedakah box. Also for Thomas Schaus, we're still working on Thomas getting internet so he can get back in here. He misses everybody. So we're giving Tzedakah for Thomas. And then also they include Veronica Port. We're giving Tzedakah for Veronica Port, our roaming, what we call her? The
Wandering Goy.
Roaming,
Wandering Goy.
Wandering Goy. And she's gonna wander down here pretty soon. All right, so now we're giving. How's your dad doing?
Yes.
He's gained a little bit more strength. I talked to him Sunday night for a few minutes, and he's pretty much doing the same. He still can't get up and out of the bed by himself. He's still really weak. It's took a toll on his strength and everything, but he is eating. He's able to eat and everything now better, and things are going better that way. Like I said, I could tell a little more strength in his voice. His physical. When the house nurse or whatever they call home nurse that comes and visits, and my brother generally has to help get him up, and just basically he's not making any steps yet. He'll just stand there for a little bit and then have to go back down, but it's about the same.
That's Philip Hayes,
Yes.
correct? Okay. All right. We're also giving Tzedakah tonight for Betty Given. Giving Tzedakah tonight for William Lyons. And Ronald, how you doing? Giving Tzedakah.
I'm doing quite well at the moment, thank goodness. It's
good.
Really pleasant. You're starting to eat a bit better.
We're giving Thanksgiving Tzedakah tonight. He just shook that head, and I'm doing quite well at the moment. I can't say it with the same accent as he does. Thank you for that info there, Ronald. We appreciate that. And then also we're giving Tzedakah tonight. Thank you, Tzedakah. Thank you for Mary Parsons. And so, I bring this up all the time, Wendell. And I'm going to bring it up as I put this in the box. Have you sharpened her snow shovel?
No.
Oh, no. Okay.
Scotty, she's going to hit you with that one.
I know it. If we ever get to meet, she's going to say, I'm the one that was shoveling the snow. And if you ever say that again, I'm going to. So,
Wendell, what you need to do is get one of those boxes like they do. Everybody's stealing the boxes and stuff. They do these trick boxes. You need to get one of these Jack in the Box boxes. Put a snowball in it, so when Scotty opens it up, it goes spam.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds like something I did when I was little, but we'll not talk about that right now. Now, our blessed memory Tzedakah tonight. If you've been friends with me on Facebook, if I probably shared every one, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds that were, I'm just going to say point blank, brutally murdered in Israel. And we're giving blessed memory Tzedakah tonight for all those. There's literally hundreds and hundreds, and we've only shared a few. So we're giving blessed memory Tzedakah for those tonight. And we're also giving Tzedakah for those that are still prisoners of Hamas. I'm just going to say it. And we're giving Tzedakah for them tonight. Okay. Would you help us pray tonight? Hear our voice, Adonai, our God, Father of mercy. Have compassion on us and accept our prayer with compassion and favor. For you are a God who hears prayers and supplications. Our King, do not send us away empty-handed. Favor us and answer us and listen to our prayers. Amen. All right, Terry, I am going to get ready and put you on speaker view, and then I'm going to do some monitoring here. Somebody sent me a couple of, wait just a minute. Let me get this one, Terry. I'm sorry. Ralph Burnett. We're giving Tzedakah tonight for Ralph Burnett. We saw that just in time. Ralph Burnett. Okay, Terry. Okay, go ahead.
All right. Again, greetings, everyone. Hope everyone's had a good week so far. It's been pretty good around here. We've weather, like, southeastern Tennessee weather, up and down. I think it was 38 degrees this morning, mid 60s, supposed to be like middle 60s or middle 70s tomorrow. Going to have another little heat wave, and it's going to rain and cool back down. That's par for the course around here. Just jumps up and down, really messes with your sinuses and your allergies really, really well in this area. Okay, tonight I just want to make an announcement that I know this is way, way ahead of time, but I'm the reason why I'm saying it tonight, because I'm going to read you something. But we had someone send in a request, and Scotty and I, we discussed it. We really think we probably should have done this before, but this is probably the time that we need to do it. But when we finish this series, which is probably at the rate we're going, probably a couple of months down the road, our next series, which will be a very extensive, long, drawn out series, is we're going to do a book study of the book of Genesis and learn what the plain and the correct meaning is of the text, what is applicable, the different principles that we can learn that's applicable for us today, and things like that. And we'll start in Genesis chapter 1. But before we get into Genesis chapter 1, let me turn around here and grab the second book. Now, I have these listed on our reference page on our website at outreachnoah.com. We have a reference page, and these are, let's see if I can get this right here. This is my commentary on the book of Genesis, just in one set that I got. This is Art Scroll. It's the first thing I bought years ago, and I'll be using it primarily. But I've got like 4 other Torah commentaries on the Torah and on Genesis, and of course Rabbi Hirsch, and this will probably my primary sources we'll be going through. But in the first book, you're looking at over 2,000 years. I think it says in here somewhere over 2,000 years of gathered material on the book of Genesis from all the works of the Torah sages. And in the first volume here, it's got a section called an overview, which I will go through. We'll actually be going through it before we actually get into the text, because it's got some really good information. I wanted to share this with you because I've actually started now going through, even though it's going to be months ahead of time. I'm taking a little bit of time in the mornings to my time shifted at work, so I got a little bit more time in the mornings at home. So I'm taking a little time, and I've started already going through things and making notes. And this morning, when I was in the second part of the overview on good and evil, I read this to my wife, and she goes, "You got to share that with the group tonight." And because it's kind of timely, I guess, with what's going on in the world today. This is on good. I just want to read this one paragraph right here to kind of, whet your appetite for what we've got coming up in the future. And like I said, it's talking about part 2 on good and evil. The existence of evil is this first section. And it says, there are situations in life that seem inherently evil. Surely the ugliness of man at his worst cannot be described as good or even neutral. But even they can serve as a vehicle for elevating man. If he surmounts the challenge that they present, then he has become a better and stronger person. The person who lives in a cruel society, as Abraham did, and remains kind and compassionate, has grown. The one who travels through a deceitful land and remains honest and upright, as Jacob did, has grown. Now, I love this last part here. It says, thus, the evil around him served the beneficial purpose of elevating him to further greatness. To be continued.
Talk about a cliffhanger.
To be continued.
Yeah.
That book study was going, I think, like I said, it'll probably take us several weeks just to get through the overview because there's so much pre-information and pre-thought before we actually get to in the beginning that I did that when I went through the book of Jonah, and it really helped when I went through the overview of Jonah and understanding Jonah the man and Jonah the prophet. Once we got into the text, it enhanced, our understanding of what was going on, and that's what I like about the way the rabbis write these overviews of the books, and then they talk about these individual things. So when you actually get into the text, it's opened it up a whole lot more than what you probably would have if you just went straight to the text. So yeah, cliffhanger, I guess. All right, tonight we're going to pick up where we hoped to have picked up last week. In our book, the Seven Gates of Righteous Knowledge, the spiritual knowledge and faith of all righteous Gentiles. We're in chapter 4, page 33. If you have the book version, not sure if it's the same version. If you have the PDF, I think may read a little bit different. Chapter 4, bringing recognition of God into one's heart and actions. Now, last week, quickly, the last time we had a really, really good class and everything. And right at the end, I covered really the first paragraph. I'm not going to go back into that tonight because I've got quite a bit I want to cover tonight, Hashem willing, because it's just some really good information. And beginning in the second paragraph, page 33, it says a person should contemplate in this fashion during all of his endeavors. Talking about contemplating, that God fills the heavens and the earth. And we're going to see even some more in depth about that here in just a second. But a person should contemplate in this fashion during all of his endeavors, consciously recognizing that God's watchful eye is stationed over him and that with his omnipotence, God is remembering and judging all of his actions, all of a person's actions. With this mental effort, a person will come to the blessing of fearing God. The blessing of fearing God. Like I said, the last time, I think 2 weeks ago, I read from Orchid Sadiqim. It's a book on Musar, a book on working on your character traits. But the blessing of fearing God says, right here in Orchid Sadiqim, says the end of, he's quoting from Ecclesiastes, I believe it's 12, 13, 13, 12. It's one of those. The end of the matter of all that have been heard, fear God and keep his mitzvot, his commandments. But this emphasis here says all having been heard. It says since that all that man does is heard in heaven, he should always strive to attain the fear of Hashem, the fear of God. It is well known that all of man's actions and thoughts are recorded in heaven to be shown to him at the end of his days. We all know that the further back in time we go, the wiser the people were. The people were wiser. The people had even though in all of our technology, their knowledge was even lot further than what ours is actually today. That being the case, how is it that the incredible inventions of the modern era were not developed in previous generations by people of greater wisdom and greater intellect? The Hafiz Chaim, who's a great Torah teacher and sage of Israel, explains that all of these advances are for the purposes of allowing us to recognize divine providence, because we've been talking about divine providence. All of these devices that we have today, even we have more devices than what the Hafiz Chaim had in his day. If through technology, sound can be recorded and be heard at a later date, and the voices can be heard over long distances, then certainly the Creator can do the same thing. The further back in time we go, the stronger of the belief in divine providence. The further you go back, there was a stronger belief. I mean, we can look at our society today, and if we just go 50 years, 75 years, the people's belief in the divine providence and in the Creator was a lot stronger than it is even today. And I've got a book on Samuel Adams over here, and that I've been reading slowly. And even in his day, it was interesting that how strong people's faith in God was during the early time of the formation of America. Even before 1776. I mean, well, let me say this, even 1777 was really interesting. A year after our independence, we were still at war with Britain, and we were getting our tails kicked. The colonists was actually wondering if our independence was even going to last a couple of months, because we were just. And there's a speech in there that Samuel Adams that's missed in a lot of the biographies of his, but this author has included several of his speeches that has been left out in some of the history books. And this one speech began to turn our nation around. We won a specific battle against England at that time. There was a preacher that had come, and it really got me. It was like, I think it was like 7,000 or 8,000 people stood out in the rain to hear what they understood as the word of God then, in that early America. But 7,000 or 8,000 people stood in the rain during this time. And I'm like, where's that fervor gone today to be willing to go and try to cleave unto God with all the best knowledge that you have? You got today, people won't stand out in the rain to get a sandwich, less stand out and hear somebody preach. And I'm reading this stuff about the turn, at the beginning of our nation. And so, but the further back time we go, the stronger the belief in the divine providence. And it's true even in our own lifetime. Without the need for technology to bring it to light, the further ahead we go in time, the more the need for technology to strengthen our belief. The reason why we have these technologies, one of the reasons is it should be strengthening our belief in the divine providence. Today, we may apply this principle to a video camera. If we are able to record our every action, then we can be sure that in Shemayim, that in heaven, not only is our actions, but even our own thoughts, too, are certainly recorded. The words of Metsudas David, a Torah scholar, now comes to life. All that man does is heard in heaven, hence the importance of the fear of the Creator. And it's got down here in the footnotes where it says in the Hebrew there on the fear of the Creator. It's Ace Ha-Elohim Yira. That's the fear of God. This refers to a recognition in one's own heart of the Creator's awesome powers. This is what the fear of God is. It's a recognition in your heart of His awesome power. That you have that awe of Him. Continue with Rabbi Weiner. It says, a person's actions and the way and his manner of speech when he is with his family and friends are not the same than when he is in the proximity of a king. How much more so then when a person takes to heart that the King of all kings, the Holy One, blessed be he whose glory fills all the world, stands over him and sees his actions from his awe of the Creator, he will immediately attain fear and humility before him, and he will be constantly bashful in his presence. I'm not going to ask for a show of hands, but I can guarantee you 100% of us, at least starting with me as, the guy sitting in the front row, I haven't got to the place where in my life where I've actually been bashful before the Creator for something that I've said or something that I've done or something that I've thought. I am definitely a work in process. If I was like an old vehicle that needed to be restored, I'm the one that's out in the woods with a tree growing through the engine block. I got a lot of work ahead of me. But that's what these lessons are for, is to help us think about ourselves. That's what it's about. Walking this life. It's not about a religion. It's about living and becoming the human that you were created to be. This is expressed in Psalms 16, 8 through 11. And we're going to be going through this verse by verse in several different commentaries here. But for Amwella, Psalms 16, 8 through 11. Sorry, I didn't email that to you, message you today. I didn't think you were going to be here tonight. In 16:8, it says, I have placed God before me always, because he is at my right hand and I will not falter. I have always placed before me the reality that God is standing by me and scrutinizing me, and therefore I shall not falter or fall into sin or error, and I will not fall into the mistaken idea that I am the one who decides my fate. 16:8 in my art scroll. By the way, another one I recommend is Book of Tehillim. I've got 2 volumes, the same size, goes through all the Psalms. Those are in my reference guide as well. Really recommend these. If you like studying the Psalms, this is a must have for your library. Matter of fact, here. You want some really good study for Book of Psalms. This is what they look like on the front. This is really, really good. Like I said, on our website, I have the place where I got these. These are just the Art Scroll. You can go to artscroll.com, or you can also go to Amazon, which I get a lot of my stuff through Amazon, since we're always, a couple times a month placing an order anyhow. But 16 verse 8, Psalm 16 verse 8, I have set Hashem before me always, because he is at my right hand, I shall not falter. I wanted to go through the commentary here on these passages. Probably going to take up the rest of the class just to go through these few verses. I have set. i.e., I am always aware. I am always aware. Rabbi Hirsch traces the root of the word, the Hebrew word that is translated as set. It also has the understanding is to smooth out. Not only have you set the Creator before you, it says to smooth out, to even out. In Isaiah 28:5, the same word is used to mean to level an expanse of soil. Like if you're going to level out some soil, like you've got something you're going to set down, maybe a building, an outbuilding. You want to make it good and level, and you level the ground out. That's what this word means here, where it says, I have set, I have leveled out, I have prepared a place, for something to be there permanently. It says to remove all unevenness from its surface. So you want it good and flat. You don't want the ridges. You want to remove it. So if you start correlating this in your mind and how and preparing to put the Creator before you always, that you actually work on yourself to make sure that place that He is before you is smooth, it's even. David declares that he has leveled out any obstruction to his clear, straight vision of the Creator's presence. Furthermore, there are those who labor under the delusion that God must be conceived as a towering figure far above and removed from the lowly earthly sphere, and who cares little, if any, for his petty human affairs. And that is a theological thought some people have, that God made the earth and man and went off and said, y'all do your thing, and he's gone off, done his. And that's a misnomer too, because see, the Creator is, you can't go anywhere, Psalms 139, you can't go into the heavens, you can't go to the pit. He's there no matter where you go. But King David says, I clearly perceive God's presence on a level of my own earthly existence. I need not seek him high above in concealed heights. I have set him before my eyes in everything that I do. Everything that I do on earth. Nothing here below is too small or too insignificant for him. We've been talking about divine providence. We shared that story of the Baal Shem Tov teaching his students about the leaf and how a leaf blowing in there, especially here in the South, United States, we're going through fall, or here in the United States, we're going through fall. When our friends over in Australia, they're fixing to go in spring and summer. Matter of fact, I asked one of my Australian friends, asked him, I said, those what we call winter holidays are in, in December, is in summer there. I said, so those guys running around in bikinis and bathing suits. You never think of that stuff until you meet someone on the other side of the world, and where it's cold. We're in the burr months. Well, burr's not burr for them. But nothing's insignificant. So like Baal Shem Tov shared with his students that a leaf falling didn't fall to the ground, just on its own and just landed wherever, that he directed it. And then the Baal Shem Tov was showing his students, and they was asking him, explaining, he said, just wait and watch. Just wait, just stand here and watch. And it wasn't long, a wind come up and it blew a leaf off of a tree, and it dazzled around. And there was this worm that was on this hot ground, and one of the leaves just landed right on top of him and covered him up from the heat of the sun. He said, see, even the Creator knew the needs, the needs of the worm. And even in Psalms 145, that he takes care of the needs of all of his creation. King David goes on and says, that the Creator, Hashem, is before me always. It is as if he is positioned directly in front of me so that I cannot take my eyes and my thoughts off of him even for a moment. See, I've been thinking about this at work because I'm in a new position, learning a whole new thing at work. And I've had a couple of days where I've got just overwhelmed with some things and was ready to let out a sling of redneck phrases of going, and then I come and I read this and I'm like, this is something that's in my mind. I'm working on positioning the Creator in my eyes, even at work. That I cannot even take my thoughts off of him, even for a moment. I even, most of you know, I've got my little bitty Tehillim, my little bitty Psalms. I normally keep right here. I got that in my lunchbox. I've actually took my little Psalms to work and I've laid it underneath my computer. So when I'm looking at me, I'm working on, some things to help me. So when I see that and I'm thinking about it, and when I get frustrated and overwhelmed, just looking at my Psalms there helps calm me down a little bit. It helps me think, because when you get overwhelmed, sometimes you stop thinking the way you're supposed to, and you start, having, they call it stinking thinking, and that can happen. But King David had figured out how to not take his eyes and even his thoughts off the Creator. The Baal Shem Tov derives this word as equal. Thus, I have made all things even and equal, talking about the word for setting. In assessing the events of my life, he says, I have accepted and appreciated everything which happens to me with the complete detachment. It makes no difference whether it is good or bad. Why? Because the Creator is before me always. Whether what's going on in our life, whether we think good's happening or bad's happening, the Creator is always before you, and he's always aware. I mean, as horrible as what's going on in the world over in the Middle East right now, it didn't surprise the Creator. Everything's going along as planned. Evil is evil. It's there. It's serving a purpose. And even though we may not see it, we may not like it, but there is a purpose behind this, or it wouldn't have happened. There's a divine purpose behind all of this, or it would not have happened. In every single occurrence, King David says, I clearly see the guiding hand of the Creator, who without a doubt always does what is best for me, even though I do not always see why. Therefore, all things are equal for the best. Everything's equal for the best. Even when you think something's not going your way, maybe you've had a health issue. Like this January, I had my gallbladder out. A lot of things went on, didn't expect. But there's a reason why it happened. And if he's always before me, whatever happens is for my best. Kind of like, I like the way the Torah sages puts it. It's like a bitter medicine the doctor gives you. Sometimes something that will heal you doesn't taste or feel good, but healing comes from that. The Rambam, in one of his writings, finds in our verse some of the most essential philosophies of the Jewish people. His interpretation of the verse is quoted by the Rama in an opening words of one of his writings called the Shulchan Aruch. It says, David says, I have set the Creator before me always, because he is at my right hand and I shall not falter. I do not turn my thoughts away from God. He is like my right hand. which I never can forget, even for a moment. This is an essential principle for all the Torah, and for achieving the lofty heights of righteousness. For we do not sit, move, and occupy ourselves when we are alone at home in the same manner that we do in the presence of a king. We speak and open our mouths as we please when we are with the people of our own household and our own relatives, but not so when we are in the royal assembly. You understand, when this was all written, they were constantly appearing before the kings of the lands and the governors of the lands. Something a lot of us here in the Western world, we've lost touch of what that means. It says, but if we desire to attain human perfection and to be truly men of God or people of God, we must awaken from our sleep and bear in mind that the great King who is always over us is always joined to us in greater than an earthly king. He is joined to us greater than an earthly king. His glory fills the world. He perceives our every deed. When the perfect bear in this in mind, they will be filled with the fear of God, humanity, and purity, and with a true and not merely an apparent reverence of the respect for God. He goes on and says, because he is at my right hand, I shall not falter. And sometimes when you read this, you're like, wait a minute, we all fall, but this is not really what that is all completely talking about. You'll understand is you're a work in progress. God tells us in Genesis chapter 4:7 that we can do this. He says, because I never cease to concentrate my thoughts on the Creator, he in turn never leaves me. And he is always at my right hand, assuring me that his support will prevent me from every fall. And Rashi says, because God is always at my right side to aid me, and he never falters. Therefore, I keep his presence before me always. Scotty, anything before I go to the next verse?
So you you read something a minute ago. You talked about fear. Can you dive into that fear a little bit? Because somebody asked the question: are you talking about fear like afraid of, or fear like a reverence to?
Both.
Okay.
Understand when it comes to serving the Creator, fearing God in a fashion of like fright is the lowest level of service and fear. As you grow with your walk with God, that fear becomes an awe. And you move up to a higher level of fear. But that fear and afraid is a part of it, but it's not all of it. It's a very low level. And there are some religious theologies out there that tries to keep you afraid. And as long as you are afraid, you're at a very low level. You should grow. That should be there, and there should always be that element there. But you should grow into the point where your fear is actually stems from loving the Creator and following and doing what he does out of love and not out of fear. Like I was saying here, where we was reading for the fear, this is the reference and the recognition in one's own heart of his awesome power. Now I'll share with you this on the fear thing. You know, I've spoke often about, you know, the anger I went through when we were talking about, you know, the Musar. And I actually wrote down here where it says the recognition in one's own heart, the Creator's awesome power. When I was going through that bout of anger, again, I don't want to go through that again, because it'll take that's one sin that takes you into idolatry. It takes you a long way from the Creator, but at the same time, if your heart is, like we were reading here, it's constantly trying to keep the Creator in front of you, even when you get in these areas. And as I was going through that, and I was studying anger, and I was making the repentance over it, and I was going through, and once you become anger to a certain level, like I did, and I admit it that I did, the scripture says you will bear your sin. You will bear it. And it was in the midst of that bearing that I had an encounter with the knowledge of the power of God that I had not known. Not only in his strict justice, because we, like I showed you in Genesis, and we're going to see again, when God deals with man, it is Hashem Elohim. It's the 4-letter word Elohim. It's his justice is tempered with mercy when he deals with man. Goes all the way back to the garden. And when I was going through that, and I had confessed to the Creator that I know that I'm going to be bearing my sin, I'm going to be bearing the consequences of what I have done, it was like an opening door into the knowledge of his power. And it wasn't a fear. It wasn't the fear of God in that he could just stamp me out, but it was this, my personal experiential knowledge within my own soul came in contact with the awesomeness of his power, that not only he could wipe me from the face of the earth, but also the power of mercy that comes with you admitting and taking upon yourself the bearing of your sin, and you're talking to the Creator about it. Then you get this knowledge of this awesomeness of his power, not only in that his power could make you totally afraid and want to go hide in a cave, but it's also a fear of God, that you will grasp his power and the power of his mercy, and even in the power of his judgment. It's hard to explain until you get there. And even in that frayed part became comfort. It was like, yes, I'm going to have to go through this, and the Creator is showing me this is what I have done and now what I've got to go through. But even in that, there was a comfort of his presence. And I don't know if Scotty, am I explaining that okay? It's just, I would not want to go through that sin again, but it opened up my soul knowledge to his power that I had never in my entire life had experienced it. There was the trepidation of what I'd done, but there was also the awe of who he is as my Creator. And that even bearing one's sin, and you do it even in a righteous way, if I can put those two words together and it's sound weird. In doing that, it's like, the Creator, I was going through something, but he was there. He was guiding me through it. He didn't leave me. And I was going through that time where it was very difficult, but his hand was there. guiding me through it because I'd recognized what I had done, talked to him about it, told him I was accepting his just judgment. But in doing that, he's like, okay, now let's go. And there was something there I had never, not in studying, and I do a lot of study, that I had ever gotten until I got to that point. You know, and if you go too far, people, well, you've done lost it, you're going to lose. But if you hang on and you got the Creator set in front of your eyes, as we're talking about, and even in a moment when you know that you've done wrong and you've damaged the relationship maybe you have had with God, and you recognize it and you talk to the Creator and you're working this out, and you're not just falling back into despair, but you're reaching to Him. He reaches to you and says, come on, let's go. That's the only way I know how to say it, Scotty. Verse 9, therefore my heart rejoices and my soul exults. My flesh too rests secure from this thought that God is always at my right hand. I am happy and I am confident, and I have constantly felt serene and self-assured in my heart and my soul that I will not err. My body and my flesh rest in assuredness, as I know that only good will come from God. I'll stop here and I won't go through what Rabbi Hirsch has to say about that. This is really good. Rabbi Hirsch is one of my favorites. I so clicked with him. If he was alive today, I'd be sitting at his feet. He would be my Torah teacher. He's so strong. In verse 16, chapter 16, I believe it is, in verse 9, therefore my heart is glad. When my glory rejoices, my flesh will also rest in safety. He says, Rabbi Hirsch says, David says, only now that I am certain that whatever may come to me in life, but it's momentous, whether it's momentous or it's insignificant, it was sent to me directly by God. What we were talking about. Whether you're going through a time, you're in your height, you're walking, there's just a lot of good stuff going on in your life, or maybe you're in one of those where that deep valley. You know that both was sent by God for a reason. And when you begin to hold Him in your thoughts, in your eyes before you, it makes these times of the valley a lot stronger. It says, Rabbi Hirsch says, can the apex of the outward happiness give me true joy? It is true that one can rejoice even without God, but one can never be truly happy without Him. He says, even the thought of that time when, let me just back up here a little bit. It says, even my position as king, talking about King David, with all of its external pomp, would leave my heart cold if I did not know that I was given me by God Himself. Even the thought of the time when all of this rich and great life on earth will come to an end, and only my physical remains shall be left, holds no terror for me. God is in death as well as in life. He is at my right hand, which sustains me, and which I will not forsake even when I die. Even in death, as in life, the Creator is at my right hand with me. He's never left. Verse 10 goes on and says, for you will not abandon my soul, because we're talking about now about going into. For you will not abandon my soul to the netherworld, neither will you deliver your pious one to see the pit or of Gehenna. This is your way, God of truth and kindness, for you will not abandon those who trust in you to cast them away from you. Rather, you will show them counsel and the way in any situation by which they can rely on you and continue in your trust. Just had a thought. I wish there's a Jewish prayer that is, it's one of my favorites. And it's the second prayer of what's called the Shemona Esrei, the 18 benedictions, that was written by the men of the Great Assembly after Israel came out of the Babylonian captivity. It's called Gibor Adonai, the might of God. It's one of my favorite. The first time I learned it, and then while I was doing my learning to join the Jewish people, in which the Creator said, no, it's not where I want you at, I got to learn to say it in the Hebrew. There's a passage part of Gibor Adonai. See, Chris, you probably be familiar with that prayer, aren't you? Was you shaking your head? Okay.
Yep. Yes, I am.
It's one of my favorites. Because when I learned it, I wish I'd thought about that then, or I'd pull it up in my Siddur. And right now, I don't know if I'd find it quick enough. Because the Siddur I've got's a transliteration, so it takes a little longer to find the passages. But it says this, that he, the Creator, maintains his faith, his munateka, with those who lie in the dust. Just think about that. We just read, whether in life or death, he is at my right hand. He maintains his faith with those who lie in the dust. I want you to think about this. We're always talking about, what is your faith? How is your faith doing? Learning to be being faithful. But as I learned that prayer, written by the men like Jeremiah and Ezra and Nehemiah and these guys, he maintains his faith. When was the last time you thought about the Munateka, the faith of God, his faith? He says he maintains his faith with those who lie in the dust. We always are talking about our faith. Our faith is weak. Our faith is strong. Our faith is growing. But what about the faith of the Creator himself, his faith? In Hebrew, that's emunah, his faith. Just think about that. Even in life and death, his right hand is with me. You know what? It's 9:04. I didn't know it. I'm not going to get through everything I want to in this passage. I just want to leave tonight with you. We'll pick up on verse 11. Is that where I'm at? Hold on. Yeah, we'll pick up on Psalm 16:11 when we come back next week, Hashem willing. I just want to leave you with that. That's a good place to stop. This week, I want you to ponder the faith of God. His, not your faith in God, but God's faith, his faith toward you. Just want to leave it at that.
I think that's Brooke Hashem, I think that's awesome to imagine, to think about that the Creator has faith in you.
Yeah. Even in death, he maintains his faith with those who lie in the dust. So in life and in death, if you get to where you put the Creator, as King David is always before me, and you go into death, his right hand is with me.
Yeah.
And he's as you were in life, he is also in your death. It's just something to think about.
Yes. Awesome. Terry, thank you so much. I know it takes time to build this. It's not something that you just wait till 5 minutes before you come to class and you throw this stuff together. I mean, you're constantly going through the week. I know because from time to time he gets feeling excited and he just has to tell somebody, and I'm the one he tells. Does
Scotty will get good morning, and when he sees that, he goes, "Oh boy."
I'll see good morning, I'll flip it over, and it's just a long. So it's like at 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning where Terry's feeding me. So I'll just say it like that. So all right, Terry, thank you so much. The Georgia group, they thank you so much for doing, and they can't wait till you start the book of Genesis.
I know. I'm sorry, guys. I know it's going to take us a few months to get there.
Yeah.
But I'm already getting myself ready for that direction. And I read that this morning, and I read that to my wife. She says, "You're sharing that with the group because of what's going on in our world right now. It would be something good to share." So,
yeah, I've already started writing questions down. I'm going through and reading and writing questions down, thinking, okay, if I'm reading this for the first time in this angle, with this perspective, what would be my questions? So we're going to...
we'll take our time. It's not going to be a big hurry on that. Now, I know we've gone through Genesis 4:7, 6 and 7. We'll be going through that again as part of the Genesis 1:11 and 12. Really important information there for us. When you read it, you look, well, what can you get from that? And then Genesis 18. Well, no, Genesis 6, Genesis 8, Genesis 9, Genesis 18. This is all there. This Genesis is really the book for those of us of the nations, because as you get to the end of Genesis and going into Exodus, really the whole thing is for Israel because God gave it to them as their inheritance.
Yep.
But our what we can learn in our share comes primarily from the book of Genesis and the book of Job and the book of Jonah. Those three books are primarily major sources of the Hebrew scriptures that's really for us. People want to get in and if you want to study for information's sake and historical sake, you get into, to Leviticus and stuff like that. A lot of that in there has nothing to do with us. There's a few principles that we can gain from that, but it's primarily, matter of fact, within the Jewish realm, when they start teaching their children, they start in the book of Leviticus. The book has I'm going to use the word colloquial or customary name for the Jewish people. It's called Kodashim, called the Book of Holiness. See, our lives is not toward holiness, it's toward righteousness. Israel, as the priest, have to cross over into that extra area, what we call holiness, according to the Torah. It's not like what you think from a Western religious, holiness mindset. It just means separate. It means holiness means to be separated, and which the nation is. Israel is a separated nation from the rest of the nations, as we learn in the Torah as well. But they are separate because they are the priestly nations. There's more expected for them. There's more given to them. And so, anyhow.
All right. We thank everybody for coming this way tonight, staying this hour and 10 minutes with us. And those of you, I'm going to do it. Broadcasting from the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains of East Tennessee, you're listening to Power Faith Radio. So, anyway,
Scotty,
yeah,
I wish you could have seen it this morning. Coming across Chickamauga Dam on the way to work.
yeah.
Lookout Mountain off to my right, where the battle above the clouds happened in November in the 1800s when the South got their butts kicked up on that mountain.
Yeah.
What happened is they got to the top of the mountain. You ever seen Civil War cannons? Well, they would pack those suckers full, and the North would come up the mountain and they'd roll that cannon over to shoot down the hill, and the ball would roll out. That is history, folks. Really happened. The cannons were worthless on that hill because they go, doop, and the Northern Army's here and they're shooting over their heads. Well, they lowered the cannon, the ball would roll out. Serious as a heart attack, guys. But coming across Chickamauga Dam this morning, and the mountain over there, because we is at 38 degrees, and we're over Chickamauga Lake, which is a part of the Tennessee River, and stuff. And so there's that cloud around the mountains, like you're talking about in the Smoky Mountains.
Yeah.
Well, off to the left, Chickamauga Lake was totally covered in like a, I mean, you won't say a mist, but it was like a cloud from bank to bank. It looked like it was about 3 or 4 feet up off the water. And I'm like, oh, wish I'd been on the other side and got a picture of that this morning.
Yeah.
But you couldn't see the water. The whole lake was covered in a cloud. It was we're at the tail end of the Smokies, but we still get those effects.
We've got a fork. If I can throw this in real quick, I call it a fork, but it's a gap in the mountains going up towards Wallen, Tennessee. And before you get there, if you get up through there early in the morning where the fog is rolling through the valleys, it looks like a fog river pouring through that gap.
Oh, that'd be cool. You need to get a video of that sometime.
I'll have to get some of that. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Oh, hey, one more, if you don't mind me making another announcement here real quick. I was talking to my Jewish friend. He made these cards back a long time before I even began this journey and gave these to me. So I talked to him today and asked him if I could make a similar copy. I'm going to be working on this and putting it on our website. And it's really cool. Psalms 119, the longest psalm of the Psalms. But I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah.
I'm going to be making something similar, not in a card, but I'm going to put it on our website on outreachnoah.com. This is a weekly reading schedule for Psalms 119. First day, there you'll read like verses 1 through 24. Second day, 25 through 48. And by the time you get to the seventh day, you've read the whole psalm.
Wow.
So a weekly reading schedule of Psalms 119. So I thought about that today. I contacted him and said, hey, you don't mind if I copy your reading schedule? And he gave me permission and all that. And so I'm going to make a copy of that and put it on our site. So I'll be looking forward to that. And when I get it up there, if you can copy it and paste it, maybe print it off, feel free to do it. But it's just a weekly, because it's a long psalm, but you can read it all in a week's time by reading these verses, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5, all the way through 7 days. You read those verses and you've read the whole psalm.
And that's at outreachnoah.com.
Yeah. And I won't get it probably this week or weekend, because I might get this weekend. I don't know. I got to work. This is my Saturday to work. So I'm going to try to. Shouldn't take too long to do it.
Okay. All right. Thank you if you've joined us tonight through our 2 Facebook pages, B'nai Noach Fellowship or A Simple Walk, or thank you if you're watching this recording. We thank you so much. Please ask those questions. And remember, on A Simple Walk, you can share those videos with all your social media platforms. And also you can jump on over to YouTube. Just type in Outreach Noah. We'll come up. While you're there, subscribe to that channel. Hit that notification bell that you'll be notified when all new videos and things go up. And you can share those videos with all your social media platforms. Send us an email. Send it to outreachnoah@gmail.com. And until next week, thank y'all so much. See you then.
Bye-bye. Have a good weekend.